Hello everyone, and welcome to another installment of the Solarpunk Farmer. So today we're actually going to be talking about a new project of mine that I believe epitomizes one of the most important aspects of food production within the context of a solarpunk lifestyle and a solarpunk society at large. So on this channel, we're going to be really interrogating the subject of what solarpunk is and what it actually means and why and how we should work to bring about a solarpunk society. And one of the most important things we can do to advance that conversation is have a real serious look at alternative agriculture methods that seek to reintegrate native and local biodiversity back into food production systems for the purpose of conserving that biodiversity, enhancing that biodiversity, and even improving our food production systems to make them more resistant to pests and make them more resistant to adverse environmental conditions. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my California native wildflower bed that I have started out here in my little corner of Solarpunk Paradise. And I'll be giving you guys a little tour of what I have going at this point, talk a bit about how I set it up, how I planted it, and what some future plans for it might be. So let's check it out. So before we jump in, I actually wanted to give you guys a very brief update on the aquaponics system. Not much has actually changed since the last video. I actually did move the peppers over here for the time being. I'm still planning on relocating them. But this part of the aquaponics system actually does not get a lot of sunlight during this time of year. I've actually come to realize that this is an issue for me in the wintertime here. This system does not get enough sunlight during the wintertime because I am on the base of a north-facing slope right here, and the sun, as you can see, gets quite low in the sky. However, despite that, everything still seems to be thriving. It looks like the system is going to be due for a supplementation very soon. So the new bok choy is in, and it looks like it's taking quite well. And everything in the media bed is started to take off quite a bit. We have had some warmer temperatures lately that have encouraged the plants to begin accelerating their growth rates. What's really cool is that in the back here, the magnolia peas are actually starting to flower. So this is the first flower on the magnolia pea. It's an absolutely gorgeous bloom, as you can see. And the sugar snap peas have started to go at the same time as well. So that's the sugar snap right there. And I have strung up the other pea plants that I transplanted in, and they are going to start catching up to the others, which are obviously a little bit older. So that's the aquaponics system and how it's doing right now. Doing quite well, I would say. Anyways, let's move on to the main subject of this video, which is the California native wildflower bed that I have started. So here's the bed, and as you can see, I have constructed it to form a perimeter along the edge of this dirt area that the aquaponics system is on. I hope to do a lot of different things in this space eventually. All I did was mix some native soil with some perlite that I had left over from a previous project and homemade compost. So basically, all I did after amending the soil was I sowed the seeds and I plowed them in. That's it. The bed is elevated slightly off the ground to encourage excess rainwater to run off into this more compacted soil over here. So this is actually a type of soil called caliche, which is sort of a limestone-based clay. It's quite alkaline and very difficult to plant in, and it's very common in the Southwest, unfortunately. So as you can see, it sort of has this tendency to like clump together, much like clay. And this is the amended soil, by the way, so you can see how tough it is still, despite the amendments that I added. And this makes it quite difficult to grow most food crops in, unfortunately. As you can see, even the fig tree here has stayed much the same size despite it being in this same exact location for about 10 years. So it's really hard to grow most species of fruit trees out here. The same goes for this loquat, unfortunately. It's been in here for a couple years and it never really has done so well. I've been watering it with effluent and wastewater from the aquaponics system in the hopes that will stimulate growth and improve the soil, but I haven't really seen any results yet, unfortunately. However, thus far it seems that the native wildflowers that I have sown have had no problem getting started in this soil despite how difficult it is for other plants to get going in it. So this right here I believe is an arroyo lupine, Lupinus succulentus. This seed packet actually contained a mixture of about 20 different species. It's a packet manufactured by Botanical Interest. The link is in the description if you want to check that out and get it for yourself. And as you can see, we're already having quite a bit of seedlings coming up aside from just the lupines. So I'm very excited to see this little project of mine come to fruition over the next couple months. This particular mixture of native wildflowers is supposed to continue growing and producing blooms throughout the spring and summer, so this bed should look beautiful for most of the year. The other great thing is that by planting these native wildflowers, I will actually improve the soil. So this lupine right here is a legume, which means that it fixes nitrogen into the soil. Leguminous plants like lupines have symbiotic relationships with beneficial microorganisms that will fix nitrogen from the atmosphere so that the plants can uptake it without having to rely on nitrogen reserves within the soil. When leguminous plants die, much of the nitrogen that they absorb throughout their lives is returned to the soil, thus enriching it. So I'll just give you guys another look at what's coming up right now. It's really hard to identify these at this stage in their life cycle, but as you can see, we have quite a bit of germination going on. And some of these are obviously going to be weeds, unfortunately, but there are quite a few native wildflowers that should be coming up as well. I definitely think that these little guys are lupines. There were two different lupines in this packet. One of them is Lupinus succulentus, or again, the arroyo lupine, and I don't recall the other one off the top of my head right now, but again, the link to the seed packet is in the description, and you can check it out for yourself. See, we have a bunch of little things coming up right here, and a few more right here. And on the very edge over here, we have quite a few. See, all around here. Lots and lots and lots of little sprouts. So I'm pretty excited. But Mr. Solarpunk Farmer, you ask, how will these plants benefit your food production? None of these are edible. Well, you see, these native wildflowers will provide what we ecologists like to term ecosystem services. So an ecosystem service is a benefit provided to an ecosystem as a whole by certain members of that ecosystem that helps to facilitate the productiveness and the resilience of that ecosystem overall. A couple ecosystem services that I expect this native wildflower bed to provide include the provision of habitat to native insect species, namely pollinators and predatory insects that will combat pests for me, the improvement of the soil through the addition of organic matter to it, and hopefully the native wildflowers will also provide a cover for taller species of edible plants that I may eventually incorporate into this bed. Anyways, that's the tour of my California native wildflower bed and a sort of explanation of why I have planted this bed and what benefits it's going to provide to the rest of the food production ecosystem I am constructing and curating in this little space. Alright, my fellow earthlings, so that's it for this video. Make sure to leave a like down there and subscribe and turn on that bell icon so that you can be notified when I release more videos, because I have a lot of plans for this little space up here, and I'm going to be chronicling it all on this channel. So stay tuned, there's more to come on the Solarpunk Farmer. Ciao.